So when you think of trying to build a successful startup, one of the things that I'm going to talk to you today about is being scrappy and how that enabled us to get into this really challenging market, even though we were a small team to begin with. So for example, my brother and I have always started building businesses since we were small. My parents are teachers, so we got access to computers when we were age 6, started building websites at age 7, and then we would rent out our backyard for bicycle parking during events until my parents would raise the rent on us, and so market conditions forced us to shut down. But anyway, we took that and we carried it into the different businesses that we've started over the years. So Statflo, really we've grown considerably over the last 12 months, and we were rolled out to hundreds of stores across 5 major telecom carriers, and we're heading to Asia next week to start to talk to some more. But when we think about scrappiness, so this on the slide just lists a bunch of excuses that sometimes we make when we're trying to start a business. We think, for example, like, oh, I don't know how to code. So that was the story of my co-founder. He's 69 years old. So he knew the telecom industry. He came to me because he didn't know how to code. So he recruited me, and then we ended up starting this business together. And so not having a specific skill is not an excuse to like stop creating a company. The other thing is like trying to figure out what do we build. In our case, we started with a spreadsheet. Wealthsimple, I think, did the same thing. And we validated that quickly, showed it to some customers, and got them to pay for it based on a spreadsheet. So we actually went from concept to starting the company to first revenue generation within 9 weeks. And so just having that attitude of saying, what the hell? Let's try it. It seems to work. And we actually didn't stop. We couldn't decide on a name at the beginning. And so we started the company basically just as a numbered company. And that's how we pitched ourselves. And because we didn't want to spend money and time trying to figure out branding and a name. We didn't even have a bank account for 6 months. And we didn't have an office for 2 years. And that's how we kept expenses low and tried to break into this. Now, once we grew, there we go. So once we grew, the question arises, how do you stay scrappy? So we added 13 staff over the last 6 months, and we're adding some more. And so we raised some funds from the Valley and here in Toronto. And so how do you keep innovating and stay fresh? So one of the things that we created was a structure that was not rigid. What it was is this is a system we developed internally to make sure that we could identify the skills that each of our team members had and what they wanted to learn, and we maximized every little skill that one of our employees had, so we didn't have to hire more people. And so that allowed us to save money. And so the slide here lists the benefits. It creates a more engaged workforce, especially if you're hiring younger workers. They're more empowered to take on tasks because they can do things that they like. And it kept us nimble. So here's what it looks like. So we listed 75 roles that every SaaS company should really have. This is based on about 5 years of research. They're just things that I realized that skills I didn't have. So we each did this. It was a group exercise. We update it monthly. And it's as a Google spreadsheet. And we each identified the things that we believe we have to do, what we could do, what we want to learn, and how we prioritize. And that keeps everybody aligned. So it's just an exercise that might be worthwhile if you're starting a business. Even if you're just one founder, you still have to do all these roles. And so if you're interested in getting a sample of this, I'll be posting this up for people to play with at some point later this month. Now, how do you catch a whale? So in our case, we're dealing with big customers. So we landed TELUS as a customer, and we were 3 people. And then now we're talking to Rogers and Bell and AT&T. And so getting that first whale was a big deal. Now, how do you do it? Well, here we go. So first, we had to do our homework. We had to figure out who was the decision maker. We had to get intros, so we were merciless at trying to get intros to different people within the organization. We leveraged John's network, which he had an 8-year relationship with TELUS, so that helped. And then we were able to just work all the angles. Now, once you landed the customer, so we got them as a paying customer, now what? So how do you not get eaten once you've gotten this big customer? So here's some things that we did. Now, here's a scenario. It says, once we landed the deal, we had to train 900 reps, sell into 31 different dealers that own 200 stores, English and French, across 5 time zones in 2 weeks. We were 3 people. We all spoke English. And we had 4 weeks to figure out how to execute on this. So what do we do? Well, we researched all of the onboarding processes of HubSpot and Salesforce. We downloaded their checklists. We looked through what can we learn from them. And then we presented them back to TELUS with our logo on it. Once we customized them, and they're like, wow, this is great. This is like the type of onboarding process that we're looking for. And so just when you're trying to create a startup, think of ways to hack your way into validating things and rolling things out without trying to invent things on your own. So that's just a suggestion. And then the other thing is, just some recap on this. Just challenge yourselves to think about your employees and your friends even, if they can help you out if you don't have employees yet. Leverage them in a unique way. Try and look at their skills. Work all the angles. We never want to overbuild things. Try and validate quickly. I totally believe in what Horizon mentioned, you just ship things before they're ready and validate, and then just be scrappy. So that's my message. I can't say that we were successful yet, but I can say it definitely has helped us survive and not require excessive amounts of capital. So there's my lesson.
Questions?
Is there any scrappy thing that you did that, looking back in retrospect, you were like, oh, we should have just spent the $20. That was way too scrappy. It was a bad call. Like, did you over scrap?
Oh,
That's a new hashtag.
hashtag overscrap. I claim that. We'll share the rights. There's definitely things that I regretted for sure. But the thing is, I don't apologize for it though. Like I think, when we did make a mistake, when we did cheapen out on things, we always, when something went wrong, we reacted right away. So, like even in the rollout, there were problems that came up because we were rolling out a program that no carrier has ever done. We're localizing customer service and basically killing the call center off and making an alternative way to service customers. And nobody's done that really in this way before. And so, yeah, we screwed up. They screwed up. Like, we're all making mistakes. But we reacted right away. And I think in hindsight, if it's like a $20 thing, then we'd spend the money. But we always set a limit. We never spent more than a few $100s in the early days on incremental things. Again, not even paying the money for a bank account. So it didn't hurt us in the end, being willing to just try different things. It forced us to be innovative.
Do we have one more question? Hands up.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Kevin.